Hey guys, I'm Tharanosin. I'm a 6th grade student here at Chiropractic College, and today we're going to be going over the hip hinge, which is something you can use as a spine sparing activity or something you can train for your athletes. So I have Katie here with me today, and she's going to be, we're going to be doing a lot of the progressions with her. So very first thing I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you into a quadruped position with your feet against the wall. And the reason I like to start in this position is I really like to influence hip drive. So what I find in my experience is a lot of the time individuals will cheat by actually doing an anterior pelvic tilt. So I'm going to just show them the anterior, yep, something like that to achieve the hip hinge. Or they will actually sometimes even do the opposite in a posterior pelvic tilt, or they will be using more of the low back as opposed to driving from the hips. So I typically like to use this one as a start to really just gauge and to show the athlete or your patient that we want to drive from the hips. So what I'm going to have you do is you're just going to be driving, pushing back from the hips, keeping this tight, good, and back up. So keep your abdominal brace, tighten your glutes, and you can already see how she's starting to lose a little bit of that abdominal brace as she's going. So that's something you want to look for if she's your athlete and she's working with you as in the strength room. So she's starting to get a little bit better. So this is, do you feel as you're pushing through? Yeah. So, and then something I like to do is you can just kind of give her a target. So push back, and once you feel my hand, right back up. And push, and right back up. Giving her a bit of a tactile stimulus. So that's the first progression to drive from the hips. Next we're going to go into a tall kneel. So you're just going to bring yourself a little bit away from the wall. Yes. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to do surfer salute. So that's going to be pinkies at the hip bone or the anterior superior iliac spine, and then thumbs here at the bottom of your rib cage. So right in here. So you don't want to open that up. That's going to give you the idea to keep a neutral spine and abdominal brace. So then once again, we're going to focus on driving from the hips and keeping this tight. So we can see that is another progression, and she's actually doing a pretty good job. And once again, we can give her a target. So use tactile stimulus. So once you feel my hand, back right up, push. Okay. So she's starting to lose a bit of her abdominal brace, and back up, and then you can even try and make her reach for it. So really to encourage that hip drive, push, 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 push. Good. So that's our next progression. Last progression, we're actually going to use a dowel. I'm just going to hop out of screen for a sec. I'm back. Okay. So typically, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the traditional 3-point contact, but I was actually introduced to another one where we're actually going to keep the dowel in front of us. And the reason why we do that is if someone has any kind of upper extremity mobility issues, that form of exercise can be a little tough. So this kind of helps keep everything kind of neutral and helps with a little bit more of a stimulus. So what you're actually going to do is, so you're going to hold the dowel. We'll actually bring you more this way so everyone can see. And the idea is as you're doing your hip hinge, you're going to be pushing this away from you. So you're almost creating this kind of push, double push force, pushing through the hips and then pushing up here to kind of encourage that hip drive once again. Okay, not that far down. Come back, really drive with this. Good. And then that's good. Back there, and give you one more. Neutral, tuck the chin, keep this tight, and really drive through this. So you guys can see that she's really elongating through here, and that's really just a good cue to kind of help with that hip drive. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that wraps up the progressions of the hip hinge. Cheers.